tutorial, and in this tutorial about Kotlin multi-platform programming. So we're gonna learn about how to use Jetpack Compose for developing UI, mostly for Android platform. Okay, so in this tutorial it will not be like a very extensive discussion on Jetpack Compose, but I will teach you how like some of the basics, and also teach you how to create a starter project, and I will teach you some fundamentals of the Jetpack Compose. Okay, so and similarly I will also try to update my UI for the time application that I have used. In my previous lecture we learned about how to about the Kotlin multi-platform build system. We also learned about how to integrate your business logic in Kotlin multi-platform, both for iOS, shared business logic both for iOS and Android. So but this tutorial will be focusing only on the UI framework. So as you know that Kotlin multi-platform doesn't provide any framework for developing a UI, so we need to use a native UI framework for each platform. So obviously for Android, Jetpack Compose is one of the most the best UI framework to use, I would say, because the classical UI framework that we used to use before, like typically we used to use XML layout for building our UI, which was like pretty tedious, in the sense like we had to parse the XML file to build the view classes and then build the UI, right? And it was a lot of boilerplate codes, like we had to have a separate XML file, right? And yeah, it was a lot of boilerplate codes, and it was also very slow in the sense like, but now this new solution of Jetpack Compose, it's based on the idea of a declarative UI system. So that means it uses functions to create all or parts of the UI. That also you can say it is just using the code to build your UI. Okay, before we used to have separately in XML file we had to design the UI, right? Okay, so this is what makes things much more easier. And obviously, as I told you, Jetpack Compose is a good solution for you, because it takes less code to do the same thing that we used to do with the old version or old view system. Okay, so for example, if you want to create a button, but a custom button, a modified custom button, you don't have to subclass the button class. Instead you just need to add modifiers to the existing Compose components, and then things will work pretty fine. So right, so you see, you reduce a lot of boilerplate codes here. So also another interesting thing about Compose is Compose components that you build are very easily reusable. So you can use Compose with new projects, or you can also use it with the existing project that just use Compose in the new screen, right? So it's makes things much more simpler. Compose also can preview your UI in Android Studio, so you don't have to run the app to see what your components will be looking like. So in a declarative UI, the UI will be drawn with the current state. So if the state changes, the area of the screen that has changed will be re-rendered. So this makes your code much simpler, because you only have to draw what's in your current state, and you don't have to listen for changes, right? So you don't have to listen for continuously start listening for the changes. So that was what old view system used to use, that they used to listen for the changes, right, and then perform the rendering. So okay, so now let's start with the Compose. So in Jetpack Compose, one of the most important concept that you have to understand is we are still using the activity. Okay, so but we are not using fragments. That is the interesting thing you have to understand. We are using only one single activity as an entry point. Okay, as you can see here, this main activity, I'm for this application I'm just using only one activity, which is my main activity, which will act as an entry point. On create, I will set the content. I will not use a set content view, because I'm not using XML anymore. So I will be using set content, and inside the set content I will be passing my composable function or my composable screens that I will be creating. Okay, so this is how it is working in Compose. you will have only one single activity. You can have multiple activities, but it is suggested to have only one single activity as an entry point, and then all the other screens now will be created as a composable function, right? So that's it. So this is much more simpler actually, guys. And also be careful that every function should be of a composable, right? So you should annotate with the composable. So this special annotation will tell the compiler that it is a composable functions, and this will just let you be draw your UI, right? So that's what it is. Very this composable annotation will tell the Jetpack Compose that this function can be drawn on the screen, okay? And as you can see, the composable functions, composable functions, another interesting idea, concept, or the key points that you have to understand is like no composable function will return any value, right? As you say, this is not returning anything, okay? So this is also another interesting thing that you have to keep in mind, okay? So you can only pass the values. As you can see, I'm just passing the values as a parameter, but you don't return any value, okay? So this is another key concept that you have to understand in Compose. And obviously this makes the things much easier, because it makes your function very fast to draw, okay? So now we have gone with the enough theoretical section of Jetpack Compose, but I would like to now upgrade my UI of my time application. So I will be just implementing some multiple composable screens so that we will be slowly, step by step, upgrading the UI, okay? So as you can see, my UI for the moment is a blank screen, okay? So now I will be step by step adding some view and the contents in this application for a time application. So my time application will be consisting of multiple actually it will be consisting of a toolbar, it will be consisting of a bottom navigation bar, and also it will be consisting of some contents. And the contents will be for finding your meeting time, and also your time zones, right? So it will be displaying time zones of in a different world time zones in a different card view, okay? So we will be discussing and we'll be implementing it in a while, okay? So whenever you are thinking about the UI, obviously the first thing that comes in your mind is your themes, okay? So the first thing that you have to always take in mind is the theming of the application, because in the theme everything lies there. So like normally your style, your colors, right, your typography for your text view that you are using, the text style, right? And yeah, your sizes, so multiple things can be used in the theme. So let's create a theme for this. Let's apply a theme for this application, okay? So first step is I'm gonna go to my I'm gonna go to my Android application solution, okay? So here I have a theme package. Inside my theme package, I'm gonna create a simple Kotlin file called colors. So I will be just actually it's just a file, it's not a class. So here I will be adding the necessary colors for my application. So I have already some colors that I have auto generated here. So I'm gonna add some okay, so these are the colors that will be adding to my application. Then the next one is I will be creating a simple file for typography. So inside the typography I will also have some auto generated some header files, like I will be importing this typography for some text, importing the necessary okay, font family, font weight, my colors, and finally my extension property for SP, okay, so this is the typography that I will be using to style my text, header 1, header 2, header 3 and header 4, four different typography text styles. Then Okay, so after this we will just now go and create the, so what I have done is I have just created a simple two class files. One is for the colors, where I have declared all the necessary colors: primary light, primary dark, secondary light, secondary dark color, primary text color, secondary text color, and light gray color, right? And similarly I have also defined the typography for my text text, like the style that I'm going to use: header 1, header 2, header 3, and header 4. Okay, so as you can see, I'm using sans serif as a font family. I have used the font size for each header one, right? Font weight, weight, and like the color, right? The font color. Okay, so this is how what I have done here. So now the next part, the final part, is my theme application here. So let me create a new file called app theme. So this app theme, I will be naming it as a time app theme. Okay, actually it's not a class, so let me reduce this. So here I will be now adding my okay, for your app theme you need to add your composable function called your time app theme. Okay, it's obviously a composable function, and this type theme will take as a dark theme boolean. Okay, it will take from the system that it's a system in dark theme, and obviously you need to pass the content composable, which just doesn't return anything. Okay, so this makes sense. Now we'll be applying our time app theme. Okay, so for that, the first thing is okay, we also have to define our necessary palette colors. First is the dark color palette and the light color palettes. So we will just define that color palettes here. Okay, for dark colors, let me import the dark color. Let me import also the color okay, so here what we will be doing is we'll be applying our colors. Will be, if is a dark theme, then we apply the dark color palette, right? Else we'll be applying the light color palette. Okay, so this makes things much more easier. And now what we have to do is we have to obviously use our compose material library and apply our necessary like custom colors typography that we have created, right? So we'll be using material theme, and okay, it's not as this content, but we will be passing here our color. Will be colors. We need also our typography. Graphy will be our typography, and our content will be the content that we have passed, right? So this is our simple application step. This is how we create our theme for our application, right? And yeah, that's it, guys. So we have successfully created our app theme that we will be applying in a while in our application, right? Time app theme, and here we will need to pass our content. Greeting view, let me pass this as a test. Yeah, okay, so I have some test files, yeah, test here, as you can see here. Okay, so we will be upgrading it in a while. Okay, so let's go step by step. Now let's move more further. So now before creating our main screens, okay, we need some helper classes or helper attributes. Okay, so let's create some helper classes or helper attributes. Let's say it's like a helper values, variables, right? So let me create Kotlin file called types. So we'll be using this necessary types for entire in our entire application. So we'll be creating some types. Yeah, we'll be using type alias one add type list of string. It's gonna pass to unit. We also have type alias on dismiss type, which also doesn't take anything, and let's return the input type alias compose function composable. Okay, we also need type alias top bar function, which also is a composable, and returns a unit composable function empty composable. Okay, so this will be our necessary types that we'll be using in our entire application. So okay, so now we'll be focusing on creating our main screen. Okay, so let's go inside our UI package, and let me create a new file called main view. So here in this Kotlin file main view, I will be creating some helper classes and variables. Okay, so first let's go there and just create some helper classes like shield class. I need some shield class called screen. I pass the title, and my shield class will be time zone screen. This is my first screen, is the time zones, and we also need another one. It's called find time screen. Find time screen. Okay, so this will be our shield classes. Now also we need to define also some helper classes for our bottom navigation bar, that we need our bottom navigation item. So we have a bottom navigation item, we have an icon, image vector, we also need a icon content description, which will be the string, right? Okay, so this is what we have. As you can see here, we have a for bottom navigation item, we will have a route, icon, and a content description. So next we need to create the bottom navigation items. I need a list of items, right? List of bottom navigation items. So I just need to add bottom navigation item. So I need a screen, time zone screen dot title. I have icons dot field dot I need okay, let me add a home, and it's a time zone, and I also need another one, similar item. This time it will be not time zone, but find time screen. It will be like place, it will be find time and time. Okay, bottom navigation item. Okay, so this is what it is, and now we will also start adding our finally we will start adding our composable function to render our view. So it's a main view screen. Okay, so we will be passing, obviously it's a composable function, composable, and here we need to add our action bar function, top bar function, which will be passing through our empty composable. Okay, so this is the default value that we are passing here in our main view. This will be like our main view that we will be just passing as a content here. Okay, so yes, so our main view will be consisting of some obviously we are gonna pass here a top bar function. That means your top bar or kind of a toolbar for Android. Okay, and by default we are just passing with the empty composable value. So now we need to define some states for showing and adding a dialog, and states for containing states that contains the list of current time zone strings, right? So let me define some necessary states. So add dialog, we will be obviously using this remember function to remember the state and current selected item, right? So remember is a compose function that remembers the variable and returns its value between different drawable. And there is also mutable state of that creates a mutable state instance whose state is observed by the compose, right? And yeah, this remember is one of the most important compose function for handling our state. So what is state? Actually, state is any value that can change over time, or it's called state, right? So let's go and implement this state variables that holds the state for showing, adding dialog and current time zone strings. So it's a mutable state of I will just pass the default value of false. I also need another state is a current time zone strings, which also remembers the snapshot state list is a string, and we also have a selected index. It's also another state that remembers the your selected index, state of an index. Okay, let me pass the default value of 0, right? So yeah, and then finally we will be using our theme that we have defined is our main, like a time app theme. Okay, so here we need to pass our to do add scaffold. Okay, so we'll be doing it in a while. So this is our main view. So in our activity I will be not passing anymore this one, but I will be passing a main view, and I will be applying it. Obviously it's empty now because we still have not implemented anything, right? So okay, let me go back to my main view. So snapshot state list, this creates a mutable list whose state is observed by the composable, right? So this is what it is. So now we need to add the scaffold. Okay, so compose uses a function named scaffold that uses material design layout structure with the app bar, toolbar, and an optional floating action button. By using this function, so we will be laying out some screens, right? So so let's add the scaffold. Okay, so this scaffold will be consisting of some, okay, so this is not the scaffold that I wanted. Like we need a top bar, right? So this here we gonna to do add toolbar. So here we add our toolbar. Okay, so we also need another floating action button. Here we will be adding our button, floating action button. Add a floating action button. Okay, so we also need here a button bar. Here we will be adding our bottom navigation bar. Add bottom navigation bar with all this bottom navigation items that we have declared here, as you can see here. And yeah, finally this is will be our content. Okay, here we will add our dialogues and our contents, right? I will be do add our screens, right? So we need to add our screens. This will be our content. And so as you can see here, this function scaffold that uses a material design layout structure with an app bar, optional floating action button, and also finally the bottom bar, right? So as you can see here, scaffold is pretty much a nice way of organizing your applications, the main screen, right? Let me apply it. Okay, now you can see it's an empty view here, which still we need to implement here now. Okay, so slowly and slowly we will be adding our top app bar. We will be adding also our floating action button and also bottom bar. So what is a top app bar? Top app bar is also another compose function for our toolbar. So since every platform handles a toolbar differently, Mac OS displays a menu items in the system toolbar, whereas Windows uses a separate toolbar. This top app bar is like it's not so compulsory, it's like optional. So we will gonna add our toolbar by passing this action bar function and pass the selected index value, right? So this we will be implementing in a while, because we are using it here. We will be implementing our toolbar here, okay, in a while. But let me go to okay, so let me remove this. So now we're gonna here we have passing the selected index value, right? That you have collectively selected in the bottom bar index. So this is like it is based on your index that you have passed in your bottom navigation bar. Whichever index you choose, you will change your toolbar index, right? And that's it, how it is working. So now also we need to add our floating action button. So let me remove this to do, and we need to add floating action button here. So if your selected index value is your first index, that means your 0. Okay, let me just then what you are gonna do, you are gonna add your floating action button. And okay, so your floating action button, we need some so we need to pass icon, right? So icon will be your image vector, will be your icons dot default add and your content description will be add icon. And what else? On click we will have to show add dialog value equals to true. So we need to, on click your floating action button, we need to show our dialog to add our okay content. Okay, so here also we need some modifiers. So our modifier dot padding of 16 dp. So let me import the dp. So yeah, we have added our floating action button here. So what else? So now let's go and add also bottom navigation, bottom bar. Okay, so here in our bottom navigation bar, so there is also another compose function called bottom navigation function that creates a bottom bar with the icons right underneath. So it's like a compose row class that will fill your content. So let me go and create my bottom navigation, use the compose function bottom navigation. Here I'm gonna use the bottom navigation items that I have declared before. Here I have 2 items here, so you can add any number of items as per your choice for indexed, for each indexed. So I have an index bottom navigation item. Okay, so here now I'm gonna pass the okay, I'm not gonna pass anything here. I'm gonna create here bottom navigation item that I have created. So my on selected I will have to pass a selected index dot value. So this will, if the selected index value equals to the index, then is selected is true, right? So on click what it does is sets the value selected index dot value will be assigned to the index value, right? And the icon will be your the icon that you have we have created. Okay, so our image vector will be our bottom navigation item icon. Content description will be also bottom navigation item icon content description, and that's it. Okay, so this is what we have created here. And yeah, let me go and rerun the application again and see if everything is working fine. Yes, it's working pretty fine. As you can see here, I just if I just select this second item of a bottom navigation bar, the floating action button like gets removed, right? Because here like you have a just for floating action button is just for the first index, right? Okay, so yeah, this is pretty working fine, the first step. And so now we will be just moving further. We'll be moving further and we'll be adding our the next step is in our set content. We apply our main view, and here inside our main view we pass the content called top app bar, as I told you. So here in the top app bar we will be having passing the title, and this title will be assigned based on this concept of when you select your first item, the index 1, then it will be the text, and you pass your text will be string string resources dot string dot world clocks else you have another text file which will be not world clock but find meetings. Okay, so let me just apply this now. We will be now also having our toolbar here. As you can see here, the first index I have world clock, the second index if I click here I have a find meeting time, right? So this is how everything is working now. So we have also successfully added our top app bar Okay, here also make sure that we have added our necessary debugging library called Napier base. We debug anti-log. Okay, so here I'm just added my multi-platform library for logging. Okay, so for debugging, okay, like it's just used for logging. Okay, and okay, so let's move further. Now we need some extra views. Okay, so we need some card to display the user about their local time zones, time and date. So we will need a kind of a card to display that, right? So let's go and create a local time card. So for creating our local time card, I'm gonna go to my project. Inside the UI section, I will be creating a new Kotlin file called local time card. So here in the local time card, I will be creating a composable function. So as I told you, we are not gonna create any fragments anymore in Compose, but instead we are gonna create some simple composable screens and functions, right? So composable function called local time card. Here we'll have to display the city. We have a time. We'll have also data, and so it will be with the box. We need a modifier modifier fold in. No, we need a fill max width and height of 140. The card will be 140 dp, and the background color of the card will be color dot white, and also padding will be 8 dp. So let me just import the extension property ATP, and that's it guys. We have a box modifier, then we will have a card. So here the card, we need to do add body, but for also we need now some attributes. Let's define some attributes for our card. The shape of the card will be a rounded corner shape of 8 dp. Also it needs to have some border stroke of 1 dp. Color will be black. Then we will also have elevation of 4 dp. Then I have a modifier fill max width of, yeah, it will be filling the maximum width. Okay, so this will be like our local time card. Okay, so now let's add some body, right? So for our body we need to have a our body will be consisting of a box with the modifier. Your modifier with the background of brush horizontal gradient of colors will be a list of primary color and a primary dark color, right? So this is what it is. Then finally you also need to add your your padding of 8 dp, and that's it. Also inside this box we will need to write the box scope. We're gonna write create a row of columns also. Our row, so let's add some attributes for our row. Is like, obviously we need a modifier fill in fill max width. Okay, and our columns will also have some attributes here. The first thing is our horizontal alignment start, your column scope. So inside this column scope we need to add some necessary items, right? Like our text spacer. First we need a spacer of a modifier with weight of 1.0 float. We also need to have some text your location. Okay, your style will be of topography header 4, and also you need your another spacer. Okay, let me just copy this spacer of weight, not weight, but this will be our height of 8 dp, and we also need another text. Okay, let me also copy this one text, another text one called which will be the city that you have passed as an input, as you can see here. Then it will be of header 2, and you need another spacer here, right? Okay, so this is what we have, and we also need another spacer outside this column. Here it's of weight 1.5, and we also need another column, the similar one. Okay, but this will be aligned to not the start but end, and of weight 1 float. We need here now not your location, but it will be now your time of typography of header 1, spacer obviously of height 8, and then finally you also need to have a date of typography header 3, and your modifier with height of 8 dp. Okay, so this makes sense now. Okay, so yeah, so we have created our necessary contents for our add necessary body for our local time card, right? So now so we have our card ready, right? So it's time to put them all together in our screens. So in the time zone screen, so we need to create a new file called time zone screen, because as you can see here in our main view, we will have two screen, actually time zone screen and a find time screen. So we need to create a time zone screen first. Let's do step by step. Let's create a new file called time zone screen. So this time zone screen will be obviously we'll be creating a composable screen function called time zone screen. It will not be of screen, and then we'll be obviously needing to add a current time zone strings. We need to pass the current time zone strings, which will be the mutable state, the list, mutable list of strings, right? Snapshot state list of a string. Okay, so we will now need a time zone helper, CP of time zone helper, time zone helper implementation. Okay, this is our business logic that we have created before. So we will also have a list state, remember lazy list state. So now we need to also have a columns of now we need to do add content here, but for the before we also need to add some modifiers here of a modifier defier fill max size. Okay, we need to add some content here. Okay, so the okay, so now let's add some content. Okay, to add some content, we will be first creating our time by remember. We will be remembering our mutable state of time zone helper current time. Okay, okay, let me just get the current set value. Okay, and now we have a launch. Okay, launched effect of key is 0. So while it's true, then you have a time is assigned to your time zone helper. We get the current time and we delay. No, what's happening here? We delay time millis. Okay, so we don't have the time millis, right? Zone helper, we need so every minute. So we are using this okay, let me okay, before that, so I just pass a default value. But what is this launch effect? We use this compose launch effect. It will be launched once but continue to run. So this means this method will get the updated time every minute. Okay, so you pass 0 as a parameter to launch effect here, so that it will not cancel, right, and relaunch when launch effect is recomposed. So that's it, what is happening here. Okay, and so here will be a delay, and then we have a local time card that we have created. We pass the city of a time zone helper, city, current time zone. The time will be your obviously your time, the string here that we have created here. The date will be your we get from our time zone helper. helper, get date, time zone helper, current time zone. Okay, and also we need our spacer, modifier, size 16 dp, and we just need to import our extension function. Okay, that's it. So now we also need to add more of our time zone. Okay, let me add some to do, add time zone items. Okay, so we need to do here and add our time zone items. So let me go to my return to my main view, and let me go and replace our add our screens here. So the first screens I'm gonna add here is when your selected index dot value is your index 0. That means you're gonna add a time zone screen, right? And your current time zone strings, you need to pass the current time zone strings. And yeah, let me run this application, see if it's working. Yeah, it's pretty working fine, guys. As you can see here is your location Europe. Yeah, 11:47 August, Monday, August 14. Yeah, you see it's working pretty fine. I just switch, you see, you come back. Yeah, it's pretty working fine. So as you can see, your app is really taking some shape, right? It's pretty working fine and looking cool. And we need to still move further. We need to also implement our floating action button. We need to implement this another screen, right? The another screen called find time screen. Yeah, there's still a lot to go, but at least we have some shape of our application. Okay. So now we need we need to create another card called time card. Okay, so let's go and create some time card UI. So I will go to my UI folder and create another file called time card. So this time card will be another composable function, which is the time card will be consisting of a time zone string, and will be having hours double, will be having a time of string, will be having a date of string. Yeah, that's it. And similarly we will be passing the necessary UI components here. Obviously our string, like our this time card will be looking like a box, and then like the modifier will be modifier, and we will be having a fill max size, then it will be the height of 120 dp. Import the extension function property dp, then will be of background of color white, and then we also have padding 8 dp. Okay, so now let's me add some contents. Our box will be containing a card, and this card will need to do add content. Okay, here we need to add the content, but first I also need to, for each and every composable view items, you need to have some modifiers. So obviously this compose card, I will have some modifiers here, like the attributes here, right? Like shape of rounded corner, the corner shape of dp, then we'll have a border of border stroke of 1 dp, we'll have a color gray, and then we'll have a elevation of 4 dp, then we will have a modifier of modifier fill max width. Okay, so now we need to add some content, right? So so let's add some content here. Obviously another content that we are gonna add, it will be also another box with the modifier background of color white, padding of 16 dp, then we will have a row of and then we will also have some contents here, but the row I will need to add some modifiers here. Modifier of modifier fill max width, and this will have a column, then it will be having a text. Okay, let me add some text but here we will be just modifying it a while, but I need a column with a horizontal alignment start. Okay, so okay, now our text, what it will be consisting of will be our time zone, and then your style. Okay, let me add the style here. Your text style will be your color, that will take a color dot black. Font weight is font weight bold, and then you also need a font size of 20 sp, right? Okay, so we need we have defined our text. We need a spacer of modifier weight will be 1.0 alpha float. Then we need another row, so this row will be also consisting of another text of hours to string, then our style will be style. It will be also taking the almost like the similar style. (14 sp). We have a text. We need also another one for similarly one. Okay, hours from local 10 sp. We don't need any font. Okay, so we need another spacer here. Okay, we have the columns, then we need another spacer here, then we have another columns, and okay, let me just copy and reuse the concept here. column, it will be of our alignment to the end. The text will be passing here the time black bold 24 sp, and we have a spacer. We have finally the we need a text of date. Then we have a black, and it's 12 sp, right? So yeah, this is what we have to define to create our this time card, right? So we have defined our time card. So okay, so we'll be seeing it in a while. So now let's go to our main view. Let's go back to our main view, and so we want to show the add time zone dialog when we show add dialog, right? And the boolean is true. So when this boolean so add dialog it returns true, then we're gonna show the add time zone dialog. Okay, okay, so where is my dialog? So add dialog. Okay, so here we need to add our dialogues, right? So let me remove this to do. Okay, so let me add some dialogues here. So if so add dialog value is true, then we need to show add time zone dialog. Okay, but we have not created time zone dialog here. Okay, so let me go and let me go and create the let me go and create the card, right? Screen. Okay, yeah, let me see guys. So here we need to show our dialog, right, when the value is true. Okay, so let's go and create another file called add time zone dialog. It's a file. So here we need to create another composable function called add time zone dialog. So this time zone dialog will be assigned to your dialog on dismiss request. Okay, it's to do, and here we have to do, okay, to do add content of your dialog. Okay, so here a time zone dialog in our main view. Obviously we need to show our time zone dialog. Okay, in this way, but we still have to implement here this one, right? Okay, so we have created this one. We have Okay, let's go on time zone screen. Okay, so we also need to first add time zone items, right? Okay, let's add some time zone items here and fix this to do here. So we will add some time zone items here. Okay, in the lazy column we'll pass our this will be the content, but here we need to pass our state is like list state, and then here will be the items current time zone strings, and what else we have a key, no key that is assigned to our time zone like we have a time zone string animated swipe dismiss. Okay, animated swipe dismiss. We also need to implement another one, animated swipe dismiss function, composable function. Okay, so let me go and create another one which is called animated swipe dismiss. Okay, actually I have already created an animated swipe dismiss class to handle swiping away in the row, right? So I'm gonna just copy and paste it. Here it will be looking like this. I just need to import the necessary dependencies. Okay, so here this is our animated swipe dismiss class that we will be implementing here in our time zone screen. So this animated swipe dismiss will be consisting of passing the item. Our item will be your time zone string. And what else? We have a background of here we have a box. Inside the box we will have some modifiers. Fire fill, max and size, height, dp, background, color, the trade, padding, start of 20 dp and of 20 dp. Okay, so then we also need to pass the content here the content will be our alpha 1 float. We need icon, image vector of icons field, delete. Your content description will be just to delete it, and what modifier will be your modifier align to alignment dot center and tint will be your color white. Copy alpha will be your alpha. And you also need to pass your content will be your time card, your time zone string. Your hours will be your time zone helper. Hours from time zone will be your time zone string. And what else? Your time will be your time zone helper. Get time, and you pass the time zone string obviously, and then you also need to pass your data with your time zone helper. Get data time zone string. Okay, what else, guys? Then finally you also need on dismiss to pass your zone here. Items current time zone string. Okay, let me see. You have the key, your current time zone string, then you implement your item time zone string. Okay, okay, let me just go and recheck my everything. So we have a current time zone strings here, right? Like a time zone, you pass the time, okay, you need to pass the time zone here. Then your time zone strings, your time zone string, alpha1 time card. So what's time card? Current time zone string contains the zone. Actually, it's like strings, or it's a list of strings. So we just need to modify it. Okay, the if current time zone strings capture closer items. So we need the items here. Let me see, it's getting a little bit of confusing, but one second, let me just time card. It requires a string but it's found a int. Okay, so time zone string, what is this? Is this is a current time zone strings snapshot. I'm passing a list but of strings, but why it's items. Items. Actually it should be this one. Okay, so now it's working fine. I just missed the import actually. So yeah, now what next? Passing the on dismiss. If your current time zone string contains that zone, then your current time zone strings will be removed. Move the zone, right? So this will be your time zone screen. Yeah, strings. Yeah, let me apply this. Okay, here nothing is happening here. Okay, so that's your current time card. Okay, okay, so now let's go step by step. Let's move more further. So let's return to our main view. Okay, and obviously we need to now add, we were adding our time zone dialog, right? And we need to show our time zone dialog. So but still our time zone dialog, we have to implement our time zone dialog. So actually I have already created a time zone dialog. And let me go to my so let me add my time zone dialog here and add the necessary implementation here. So I'm just Okay, I have just to save the time, I have just reused the okay, so we need to fix this step by step. Zone strings, okay, we are using this helper I mean like the okay, so let me import also the necessary import the extension function launch. We are missing here okay, clear. Okay, first thing is we need to resolve our search zones. Okay, so let me resolve this search zones. Okay, search zones, what it is taking is we are taking the search value and the time zone strings, search string and time zone strings. So we have a search strings string, that is a string, and a time zone string, right? Strings, which is a list of string, and which will obviously return a int, and our time zone equals to time zone strings first or null. It starts with your search string and then ends with ignore case to true. Okay, first or null string, if time zone equals to null. So if the time zone is null, then what we're gonna do is you will assign your time zone to your time zone strings first or null. It contains your search string and ignore case to true. Okay, otherwise if time zone is not equals to null, then we're gonna return our time zone strings index of time zone, and you return to -1. Okay, so this is our time zone strings, right? Okay, so we also need more other helper functions, like if is selected, right? If is selected state of map of int boolean. We have the index it's passed to int, and we have a boolean. Okay, we return if selected states contains the key that we have passed the index, and if the is true, like if selected states index equals to true, then it's selected, right? So toggle label, let me also import this toggle label. Get time zones, we also need to get time zones, but we also need some strings. Let me create some strings. Cancel. And I also need some string like add. Okay, so we need to just now get fix this get time zones. So now let's go to get time zones. We'll take selected states and get time zone strings, right? To get time zones, we'll be getting it with selected states. Actually it will be pretty similar to this sorry guys, similar to this function, but I just need to rename it to get time zones. We need a selected states, which will be a map of int and boolean, and we have a time zone strings. That's a list of strings. Obviously it's gonna return a list of strings that we have. We'll be returning all the time zones strings, right? Okay, so okay, we have a time zone indexes will be selected states. We map with if the value the key is true, that means it's a key, else it's a -1. That's the index, right? Time zones equals to mutable list of string. Then we have our time zone indexes for each index. We have if index is not equals to -1, time zone zones dot add time zone strings index. We return finally the time zones, the list of time zones, right? Okay, so this is okay. And okay, so we have also created our add time zones dialog, which let's go return back to our main view and add time zones dialog. So to add the time zones dialog, we need to on add, you just have this new time zones. You just show add dialog value equals to false, that means you have already shown the dialog. And for each zone in a new time zones, you just say if current time zone strings contains the zone, then you say if it doesn't contains the zone, then your current time zone strings dot add. Okay, so if it is not your zone is not already there present, then you just add the zone, right? Otherwise there is no sense adding a already present zone, right? On dismiss, just add the dialog value equals to false. And okay, so this is what it is. And let me return this again and see if it's working. Okay, yeah, it's pretty working. So we have this list of time zones, right? We have Africa. Add, yeah, we have added the necessary time zones here. We can add more other. I want not Africa, Asia, multi, add, yeah, you can add the time zones, right? You can even swipe here, right? As you can see here, you can swipe and delete. Okay, so yeah, we have successfully created our this addition of your time zones, right? And also we have added the time zone dialog where we can add our respective time zones, right? And so let me add one more for America. Julia added. I want we don't have anyone. India, Indian South. Okay. And yeah, this is pretty working fine. Now let's go and to our another screen. It's called find time screen, right? So we need to implement also this one. So this screen will allow the users to choose the hour range that they want to meet, selecting the time zones to search against and perform a search that will bring up a dialog with a list of hours found, right? So since composable is made of many parts, so we're gonna use the included number picker composable that will look like okay, I will be showing it. It will be like a kind of a number picker that we'll be going to implement. And so let's go and create a new file called number time card. Okay, that we will be using this number time card to pick the number, right? So let me go and create a file called number time card, and let me create this composable function called number time card. This will be consisting of label, string, hour, mutable list, mutable state, mutable state of int. Okay, so here we have a number time card, and we need to implement this number type card. So obviously it's gonna be of type card, and obviously it consists of a row, but I want to add some modifiers for my card. I mean, like some attributes like a shape. My card will be a rounded corner shape of 8 dp, right? And then we will also have a border of a border stroke of 1 dp, and have a color white. I have elevation of 4 dp. So now I also have a row where I'm gonna add some contents. Add contents like text. Okay, but first I also want to add some attributes here, like modifiers here. Modifier fire padding of 16 dp. So we need to add some contents like text. Our text will be the label that we're gonna pass, and now here it will be also consisting of a style. The style will be a material theme, typography header 1, and also I need some modifiers here. Modifier will be a modifier align to alignment center vertically, okay. So this is my text. And what next? I also need another one, spacer, which is like a modifier size 16 dp. Then I have a number picker, as I told you. Number picker, okay. The hour will be hour, range will be our int range 0 to 23, and on state changed value equals to IT. Number, okay, so now it's not a widget number picker. Actually we have to create a composable function called number picker. Okay, create compose function number picker. Okay, so okay, I think it's better we will create a new one. Number picker, add. Okay, let me add this composable function to a separate file. Okay, so yeah, this is a number picker. I would like, as this is a fundamental tutorial, so I would like to not go in detail about this number picker, and I have already created a number picker, so I'm gonna just go and add it, copy and paste the number picker here. Okay, and need to just import the necessary libraries. So we also need this. Okay, this is the library. Okay, what about this column wrap, content size, draggable, orientation? Okay, draggable state, launch, exponential decay. We also need to have the absolute function here. Icon button, icons, okay. So there are actually a lot of imports that we need to import. Arrow down. Okay, let me import this one. Okay, so we have added the necessary number p color, and let me go to my number time card. So now we need to, okay, so this number time card was a composable function that was that we will be using it in our find meeting time screen, right? So let's go and create a find meeting screen. Okay, so this find meeting screen is also another composable function which finds the meeting screen time zone string list of string list state remember lazy list state remember mutable state of time remember state of 17 selected time zones remember well selected snapshot state map of int and boolean guys. So we have for I in 0 to time zone strings size -1 selected what is my select no, this one guys. Selected equals to true and you return your selected time zone, right? Then here we have a time zone helper implementation. Obviously this is gonna be a time zone helper. Okay, so we have a show meeting dialog, remember, mutable state of then you have a meeting hours, remember, snapshot snap state list of int, and if show meeting dialog dot value is true, then you show the dialog, right? Meeting dialog, but this we need to also create another meeting dialog, meeting dialog, another composable function that just shows you the dialog, right? Actually I have already created the dialog, so I'm just gonna copy and paste. So we have the necessary okay, so we have the meeting dialog that we will be using in our screen here to show our meeting dialog here. And we pass the hours, so our meeting hours, and what else, we have to also show on dismiss, so meeting dialog value equals to false whenever you dismiss it, right? We still need to add our content here, add content, and we also need to add edited time zones, so we still need to do that. Okay, so okay, so now let's create this add this selected time zones. Okay, create this function get selected time zones, which will be having a time zone strings is a list of string, and selected states map of int and boolean list of string selected time zones table list of string. We have a selected states keys map val time zone strings and get this string. We have if is selected states pass the it, and if selected time zone contains the time zone. If it doesn't contains the time zone, then you will gonna add this selected time zones, right? Selected time zones and add the time zone, and finally you return selected time zones. So we need to get the selected time zones, and this is a helper function that will return a list of selected time zones based on the selected state map. Okay, so now we need to also add a content. So let's add content here. Okay, our content will be consisting of a column, spacer, modifier size of 16 dp, and we'll have also text of like your text will be your time range, and we'll also have another spacer of 16 dp. Then we also have a row of spacer number time card. Okay, label is start, hour will be your start time. Similarly, you also have the similar spacer of 16, then let me double it to 32, and we have a end and the end time, right? And finally we also need another final spacer of 16. Oh no, sorry guys, this is spacer. Okay, obviously let me add some modifiers for my text. Modifier fire dot fill max width, then you have wrap content with alignment dot center horizontally. Then you have also you need to add the style to material theme dot typography header of 6. Okay, so yeah, we have a column spacer and everything. So what's next now? So we have also necessary text spacer, row spacer, and finally add also another row. Yeah, actually you can copy and paste the entire. Okay, and just we need another row of but here your row will have some modifiers as a modifier. Okay, I can also copy the modifier here, field mix and padding. Padding of a start 4 dp and of dp. Okay, and obviously we need a text here, so let me copy and paste this text. So it will be like time zones horizontally. Yeah, everything is okay. And finally we also need to add lazy column here. Okay, we'll be doing it in a while, but yeah, this is okay. So we have actually added a number time card. Okay, these two number card with start and end, and finally we also have the time zones with the typography. Okay, so now we have created a column with the text field, start and end hour picker, and another text field, right? So next we need to add this lazy column. So let's add this lazy column. Lazy column will be have some modifiers, and we'll need to pass the content, right? Okay, so I want to pass the content here, but I want to add some modifier here. Weight of 0.6 float and fill max width. Okay, and then you also need your content padding of padding values of 16 dp, right? And you need to also have the state, that is your list state. And now we need to use our items index time zone strings. Okay, I time zone. So we have a suffix of a row. Okay, obviously let's add some modifiers to our surface. Fill max width. So let me copy and paste the modifier here. Not weight, we need to add a padding of 8 dp. Then we will also have a row of some modifiers here. We don't need the padding here, so now let's add some content here. That is it will be a checkbox of checked will be is selected time zones and range zones, and I on check change is a lambda, so we need to pass the selected time zones of I is assigned to the value, right? And finally you will also have a text. So let me copy the text. So we copy the text. The modifier will be align to center vertically, and it will be the time zones. You don't need to pass any styles here. Okay, so this was about the lazy column. Then finally you need to add our like, let me get some spacer of weight 0.1 float. Okay, we need to also add another row. Here the row will be fill max width, to pass the weight of pointer to float, wrap content with alignment center horizontally, padding of start of 4 dp and end of 4 dp, right? And here finally we also need some contents like our outline button. So on click of your outline button, okay, you're gonna use your meeting hours and clear it, and the meeting hours add all, time zone helper, search your start time value and your end time dot value, and your get selected time zones, your time zone strings and selected time zones, right? And finally you also need to so meeting dialog value to true, and with your text will be search. So finally you also need to add your another space here, which will be of size 16 dp. Okay, it was very long screen, and what you need to do is you just need to go to back to your okay, fine meeting screen. We still had to fix one thing, is you need to return not here but here actually. Okay, so now we need to go back to our main view, and we need to also implement our another case, that is our else case, right? Our else case is obviously if it is index is you can also say 1, find the meeting screen, current time zone strings. Cancel. Yeah, we don't need to worry about these padding values. Let me go and run it. Yeah, it's working. So if I go here, okay, yeah, we have this find meeting time screen, that as I told you. Let's put the time range of this one. Let's put search, done. Search, like we don't have any meeting times, right? So that's the situation here. Let's add here Africa time zones. Let's search. Okay, so these are the meeting times that it's available, right? So let's go back, add another one. Let's go back to not Africa, man, America, and let's go back and search the time zones. I don't have any time zones. Search it again. I don't have any. Search it again. I don't have any. If I search this of Africa, I have the meeting points, meeting time for Africa. The time range between these time range for America is not, because like in America it's okay, it's AM, right? so which is outside of our range. As you can see here, the range was between 8 and 17 p.m., right, not am. So if I just 3 search, no, we don't have any meeting times here because it's outside of the range. Okay, so since like everything is working fine, guys, and yeah, this is about our simple application that we have created here. And congratulations that finally you have created a simple application for finding your meeting time, right? Implementing entirely on Jetpack Compose. It was just a simple demonstration, right, of basic fundamental sections. So if you want to know more about the advanced concept of Jetpack Compose, I would strongly suggest you to go to the official site of Jetpack Compose and learn more about this. And thank you very much, guys, and catch you up in the next lecture.